What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Debate Zone. I am your host, Jacob. Thank you so much for watching this video. And this is an exciting one, guys. We have the Stanley Cup playoff bracket. The title says it all. And this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good playoffs. I love the Stanley Cup playoffs. I think it's the hardest trophy to win. 4 best of 7 rounds. Physical sport. And this year we're given a treat. I mean, apart from having to watch the Kings versus Edmonton for 4 consecutive years. We have the Battle of Ontario. We got Battle of Lightning in the first round. There's like 6 teams I think could win it all. This is going to be an absolute blast. Let me know if you guys want me to cover the series more individually. I have no problem doing reviews and things. I would love to. I'd love to keep talking hockey. But without further ado, I'm not going to waste your guys' time. I'm going to get right into my picks. So first we have the Winnipeg Jets versus the St. Louis Blues. The Winnipeg Jets, obviously your President's Trophy winners. They're more than likely going to have the Vezina Trophy. I can't imagine it doesn't go to Connor. So, Hollybuck, sorry, not Kyle Connor. That confused people. I forgot he was on the team name. But, and then the St. Louis Blues were red hot. They won 11 games to in a row to propel themselves into the wild card comfortably. They're very good. I think they're an underrated team, even though they went on that streak, because I think people kind of just disregard them. I think, unfortunately, however, Winnipeg is just going to be too powerful of a team. I know that last year against the Colorado Avalanche, they kind of got exposed. I think there's 24 goals in 6 games. The Avs absolutely lit the Jets up. But here I do think they have enough firepower. I think they have enough depth. I am going to go with Winnipeg pretty comfortably in the first round. And now the Battle of Rantanen. Obviously the biggest blockbuster trade of the year was Mikko Rantanen went to Carolina and then very quickly was traded to Dallas. He has struggled a bit. I mean, I think anybody's numbers would drop when you don't have the second best player, Nathan MacKinnon, in the world on your line anymore. I think that hurts him. And Dallas were the team that I thought would win it all, but their injuries are really piled up. I did hear that Sagan's been cleared to play, which is huge, but I don't believe Heiskanen has returned yet. And they're young, they're hungry. I think the Dallas are going to be in the title contention for at least the next 3 to 5 years, especially as players like Jason Robinson just continue to get better. Oh yeah, I think he might not even be cleared for game 1. And people, obviously Thomas Harley took the league a little bit by storm with his 4 Nations performance. But in this matchup, I think Colorado, Steve Dangle actually said it really good. Dallas's biggest question marks are, will these players return? And if they return, how much percentage of will you get? And Colorado's is like Gabriel Landeskog's playing possibly, and that's super cool. Especially, anything they get from him will be a plus. So I am going to go with Colorado to win this series. I feel bad for Dallas. This is a disgusting matchup for them first round. I think against almost any other team in the West they would have won. But they face a very good Colorado Avalanche team with 2 of the 5 best players in the world on it, and that is a very hard matchup. We're going to speed this up a little bit. Vegas versus the Wild. Minnesota Wild obviously was your last clinched Western playoff team. No, that is not true at all, is it? St. Louis was. But I guess clinched when Calgary fell off. But the Wild are playing the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas has been pretty consistent all year. I mean, what's more to say since their involvement in the league since they got in? They've been pretty much a playoff contention, Stanley Cup champion or contending team. Minnesota, Kirill is currently not playing. I don't believe he's playing game 1. If you guys heard differently, please comment below. I think even with Kirill, I do think with Kirill it would be like 6 games. But without him, I don't think there's anything much to say. This is a Vegas round to lose. To win. There should be no way they lose this series. And then for the 4th consecutive year, we are getting the Los Angeles Kings at the Edmonton Oilers. This is a weird matchup for me. LA Kings have been an incredible home team. I don't know if they have the best home record, but I think they do. Their numbers are just outrageous at home, and they are getting the home ice advantage against the Oilers, who are beyond banged up. Hyman is currently, I believe, injured. Ekholm might not play this playoffs. McDavid was day to day. Draisaitl just won the Rocket Richard, which is great for him. it's very hard to say. Full health, Edmonton, I would take in this series. Without full health, I'm nervous for Edmonton as a Canadian hockey enjoyer. Like, I just want to see Canadian teams make it through. But I am actually no. I talked myself out of it. I was leading Kings. I'm still gonna go the Oilers, and that one's tough. I just believe in McDavid. I think when he's upset, I think when he's angry, I mean, last year he won the Conn Smythe as a losing player. It just shows how dominant he is in a playoff series. There is nobody that can match up against this guy, and I just think Edmonton will light it up. Their goalies, however, give me a lot of concern. So with the Winnipeg St. Louis, I think it's going to be 5. I think Colorado will beat Dallas in 6. I think Vegas will win in 5, and I think Edmonton will win in 7. So that's my opinion on the West. Okay, now we're going to go to the East. So, Battle of Ontario, one team, Canadian team guaranteed to go into the next round, one guaranteed to be out. Ottawa, what a season for them. It's so great to see them back in the playoffs. I was actually somebody who was annoyed with the Tkachuks during the Four Nations. Obviously, they were so passionate that it got annoyed as somebody who was passionate on the other side of the teams. But I'm really excited to see Brady Tkachuk get to play in the playoffs. They're going against Toronto, who are notorious, sorry Leafs fans, notorious playoffs chokers. And however, I don't think it's going to matter. I think Toronto just win this. I'm sorry if I haven't made any fancy, fun picks yet, but I just don't see how Toronto lose this series unless it just comes to a game 7. I do think if it goes to 7, Ottawa will win because of how big of a mental block Toronto has. But I think they'll handle it comfortably. The core four playing really well. You have Matthews playing on a bit of a down year, and he's still, I think, close to 100 points. Marner just broke the 100-point marks. William Nylander came second in the league in scoring. Tavares is having almost like a renaissance season, and then Matthew Knies is blowing them away. But I think the biggest thing for the Toronto Maple Leafs, which they haven't really had in years past, is consistent, steady goalkeeping. The Stolars or Wolar or whatever they do when they combine Wall and Stolars. They've been phenomenal. They have a great goalie tandem, and I think that's a huge, huge buff to the Toronto Maple Leafs moving in the playoffs. And I think this is a year that they comfortably make it out of the first round, which will take us to the next battle of location, which is the Battle of Florida, Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Florida Panthers. So last year's defending champs versus, I think, a team that kind of always sneaks under the radar even this year, even though they shouldn't, because it's Tampa. They're always great. Florida has a few injuries. I think Matthew Tkachuk is just bouncing back. I don't know how much of if you're getting 100% of him back. Obviously, big, not a big trade. I don't want to be disrespectful to him, but like a less big trade was Brad Marchand going to Florida. Huge in the sense of he left Boston, but I don't think Brad Marchand is the caliber of player that like a Mikko Rantanen is at his age now. But Florida, obviously, you're defending champions. They've been to 2 consecutive Stanley Cup Finals in a row, and it's a great, great series. I'm excited to watch this. I'm going to watch every single game. It's going to be a fantastic, fantastic series, and I'm going to take Tampa, which is going to be weird. Maybe it's my Four Nations, bias, seeing Hagel and Cirelli and all of them. Braden Point, I guess, was on. Yeah, he was there too. Brandon Boyd's there. But I just think Tampa Bay will win this series. I think it's going to be red hot close. I would not be surprised at all if Florida pick, but I don't want to just choose. Watch me say I'm only choosing the underdogs or favorites, and then Florida be the underdog in this series. They probably are actually. But I'm going to take Tampa, which is going to give us a great series in the next round, the 2022 rematch when they won. I think it was 2022. All right, on to the Capitals versus Montreal. Montreal was the last playoff clinching team of the 16 versus, the Capitals start to finish best team in the East. It was never really in doubt. Capitals, a little bit of a downswing in the last few games. Understandably so. The emotional stress, I guess. I don't know the word for the amount of emotions and things that they were playing for with the Ovechkin record. All season they were talking about it, even though the Capitals are having an incredible series. And I'm not trying to take away. Ovechkin breaking the record is the biggest story, bigger than any regular season. And with him now having the record secured, he just came out and said he has no plan to retire. I think that they're going to lock and load into the series. However, I don't think people should assume this is going to be the sweep or 5-game series that a lot of division winners wildcard series are. I think the Capitals and the Montreal actually match up not evenly, but not super one-sided. Montreal is young, but I think Martin St. Louis has been a phenomenal coach, and they're hungry. You can see how much it meant to them yesterday when they made the playoffs. It was a or the day before when they made the playoffs. It was a phenomenal performance. They're excited. They're young. They have incredible. They have an incredible rookie. They have very fast, hungry hitting players, and they will make a series out of this. I am going to say that the Capitals win it. But when you see how many games I choose, I might have some people hating on me, but it's not going to be that close of a series in my opinion. Watch it be a sweep, and we come back to this. Carolina, New Jersey. This is probably the series I care about the least, which is rude of me. Jack Hughes injured. Carolina has been good all year, but kind of middle of the pack all year. I feel like they missed their window about 2 years ago of actually winning the cup. I hope they prove me wrong, go and win it. That'd be great. New Jersey, Carolina. I have not watched a ton of either of their games as I say this, however, so maybe I'm just delusional, but I'm going to take Carolina. And okay, so in this series, I'm going to take Toronto in 6 because I think that they struggle in the first round. Tampa in 7, Washington in 6, and Carolina in 6. So a lot of 6 games series in the East, in my opinion. And now we're into the Final Four. Now it's getting exciting. Winnipeg, Colorado, first round matchup last year. You have the President's Trophy cursed team versus kind of the juggernauts of the Colorado Avalanche, who kind of got a resurgence almost with that Rantanen trade. Not saying they necessarily got better, not saying they necessarily got worse, but they have been playing very high energy. Their goaltending's improving. It might be something that holds them back later in the playoffs. Versus Winnipeg, and you guys, I really want to choose Winnipeg because I want to believe a Canadian team is going to win the Stanley Cup. But I just can't. I have to take Avalanche. After what I saw last year, I think the Avalanche match up really well into the Jets. I don't think the Jets have any answer for Nathan. Not that you really can answer Nathan McKinnon. And I'm starting to realize I might be doing the exact same bracket as Steve Dangle, so maybe we're both delusional. But I'm going to take the Avalanche to advance to the Western Conference Finals. And in the next series, I have Vegas versus Edmonton. Edmonton, like we said earlier, still banged up. I'm not going to talk about the teams as much, just because I've already explained them. Vegas, they're pretty healthy, had a great season. I think this is where the Oilers' year ends. I think they're too banged up. I think they have too many questions defensively and on goalkeeping. I think they need to retool. They need to figure out what they need to do with their seconds and third lines and really start to revamp this team. They have two of the other 5 best players in the world, right? Like Colorado has Makar and Nathan McKinnon. They have McDavid and Draisaitl, and then I think over in Tampa, I think Kucherov would be my top 5. That would be how I round out my top 5 players. So I think Edmonton, they have the ability to be in the contention. They obviously were in the Stanley Cup Game 7 last year, but I think this year just injuries, not as much fire under them. I hope they prove me wrong. I hope we see Colorado versus. I hope we see Winnipeg versus the Oilers. That would be fantastic. But that is where their series ends season ends in my opinion. Vegas advance. On to Tampa, Toronto. Toronto has been looking phenomenal. Obviously, winning the Atlantic is big for them. They haven't done that in a very long time. They're versing the Tampa Bay Lightning, who they did beat. It's actually been 1-1, I believe, right? Tampa took them out in the year before. They beat the Tampa, then they finally beat Tampa. It's kind of like a best of 3 who takes the cake. And this is where I think I'm going to go against the Storm here a little bit. Against the media, I'm taking the Tampa Bay Lightning to make the conference final. Yes, they don't have the same feel behind them as when they were the Stamkos-led Tampa team, but I don't understand why this team's not talked about the way that, in my opinion, they should be. I mean, their team is stacked. Hagel, Cirelli, Point, Hedman, Kucherov, Jack Gutzel, I can never pronounce his name right. Like, this team is stacked. Vasilevsky and net. This is a good team. Like, this is a solid team. I think if you look at Toronto and you look at Tampa, they match up, in my opinion, super equally, right? Very heavy top 4, Both sides' goalies performing great. Defensively, they're good. I would actually give probably Toronto the edge defensively. So why am I choosing Tampa? Because of the playoff experience. There's multiple time Stanley Cup champion winners on this team. And when you look at Toronto, they're still all just not there yet. And unfortunately, they have a notoriousness to choke in the playoffs, and I just can't take them up that level until I see it. On to the Capitals Hurricanes, which I think is going to be a very, very fast series. I'm probably disrespecting Carolina. I'm probably going to get roasted for it, but I have the Washington Capitals winning this series pretty comfortably. I should say pretty comfortably. Like basically like how Montreal is. I feel like they're going to match up into Carolina. OVO. Sorry. I was going to do the not like us meme, but I'm not going to do that. So the Washington Capitals are going to be the last team to advance to the Final Four, and this side of the bracket is where I feel I could be most wrong. I could see honestly like any of these teams being in the Western Conference Final, and I just get it wrong. But I'm going to go with the Capitals. Shout out Ovi. I'm happy with that. And then we have the Avalanche versus the Vegas Golden Knights. This is going to be a brutal series. Like not brutal and bad to watch. Like this is just going to be a phenomenal series, but brutal, hard hitting, intense, long games, super close. I think it's almost you flip a coin, and flipping that coin, I'm going to go with the Colorado Avalanche. And in the East, I believe this is where I don't want to call it a Cinderella run because that's disrespectful. They won the Metro. But the Ovechkin breaking the record, can he win the Stanley Cup in the same year? It's going to end. I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Lightning to make the final, where I'm going to take the Colorado Avalanche to win the Stanley Cup 2 times in 4 years, and predict the number of goals scored in the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm going to have it being a 6-game series with an average of 4 goals a game. 24. What? 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 Missed required paragrams? 24. Hello? Well, okay, I don't know what's going on. Maybe I have to do that for... Okay, I had to actually open... No, okay. I don't know what's going on. But I will take 24 goals. That's going to be my bracket, guys. Comment below who you've got winning the Stanley Cup. I'm super excited hockey's back. Can't wait to watch it. Thank you so much if you made it this far into the video. I appreciate it. And I'm going to get back onto short content soon. Try to get more YouTube shorts out. I appreciate all the support, guys. I love doing this. Thank you so much. Have a great day.